Hello. Nobody's joined yet. Hooky, hooky, hooky. Hello and good afternoon. Just waiting for more people to join us if they are, and I shall start soon. I hope you all had a wonderful afternoon, evening yesterday, and thank you all for joining us again. It's been fun, and I've really enjoyed making this bag because there were a lot of firsts for me, so it's really been great. We'll just wait a bit more for some more people to join us. Hello, Deb. How are you? Thank you for joining again today, and I hope you're really enjoying the sew along. And I'm not sure if you're actually making the bag or just watching us, but either way, thank you for joining us, and it's great to have you here. Hello, Deb. How are you? Thank you. Either way, thank you for joining us. Who else is online? Anyway, there are a few more people online now, so I'll just do a brief recap of what we've already done, and then we'll move forward from there. I know on Tuesday we had problems with sound, we had problems with lighting, but I think I've jigged things about a bit. And I think the lighting is a lot better and all that. But if it isn't, please let me know. And if I sound sort of like funny, like I'm in deep water, just let me know. It has to do with the network. So today's day 3. And at this stage, we should have the lining done with the zipper attached on, the zipper pockets done, and we should just have it flapping open like that. Then we should have the 2 outer fabrics yet to be sewn. We should have the handles, 2 of them yet to be sewn, and then the base of the bag and the what do you call it? The base, the plastic sort of firm base that we're going to sort of insert into the bag as well. So those should be the pieces that we should have. Oh, thanks, Deb, for confirming that. That's great to know. Hi, Bab. How are you? Nice to have you on board as well. So, today, what we're going to do is if you're adding um, the zip end to your bag, this would be the this is will be when you would need to add that. So all you would need to do is if I take this up, your zip end would have an opening, and you will all you need to do is fold your zipper down like that, the end of the zipper, stick the zipper end in and attach it on. That's all you're going to do. But since I've opted out to not do that, I'll just quickly give that a sew. and attach it in place because I've decided to go for just a normal tab. So I'll just quickly run through that. If I can find my presser feet, my presser foot, we will do that. Found it. Sorry, I meant my foot pedal. If I can find it, then I can sew. And down the other end. Okay, so that's my zipper tab sewn on. The next thing we need to do is we need to match up all the open sides, like the sides that are not yet the side and the bottom. We just need to match them up. Now, when we're matching up and all, it might be possible that the bottom edges, the bottom raw edges down here might not match. We should try and focus on the top bits matching, as in all these matching nicely all together. So we're going to concentrate on that. And please remember the tail of your zipper, you want it out of the way. So make sure it's pinned out of the way. Make sure that your seam allowances are pressed open. Just ignore the fact that mine aren't pressed open. And so we're going to be sewing down that edge, and then we're going to be sewing down this edge as well. So although the seam is not pressed open, I'm still opening them before I sew down. So, and can you believe some people have actually finished their bags? Oh, I don't know what to say. But anyway, here we go. So just try and match the top. Make sure the top is nicely matching. And if the bottoms don't really match, you can always snip those off and sort of force them to match, as I always like to say. So there. And on this side too, push the zipper away. And you can also pin the zipper away so it doesn't disturb in any way. But it seems to be behaving at the moment. And then the bottom as well. You can actually draw that on if you want to, just to be on the safe side. And we're going to do that for both sides. So we're just going to go along now. Start sewing at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. As we get closer to the end, just there, before the boxed out section, before we get there, we taper it down so it goes to about half half an inch seam allowance. So bear that in mind when you're sewing. Just checking to make sure that I'm still working based on 3/8 of an inch, and then slowly move out to half an inch. Okay, there we have it. Ooh. Okay, and then we do the same for the other side as well. So we sew down 3/8 of an inch to start, and then it tapers to half an inch. So that means the bottom of it is a bit smaller than the top of it. Okay, home run. Okay, so that's the sides of both of them now done. So it's not the same sort of width all the way. So it starts off with 3/8, and down there it's like slightly bigger with the 3/8 of an inch. And then the bottom is it's just going to be a full half an inch seam allowance. So from the so this whole bit, the bottom bit, we're going to sew it at half an inch seam allowance. So either draw that on, because my machine doesn't really have that marking. I can sort of figure out where it is, but I just draw it on. If it's one of those seam allowances I don't use too often, I just draw it on and then sew straight down. So please feel free to do that as well. And just checking that my tail was not caught in anything. Typical. Nope, it wasn't. So I'm just going to sew that down, half an inch seam allowance. And I remember when I started quilting, we had to draw the lines on the 1/4 inch lines in the very beginning before you could sort of spot them with your eyes and stuff. And I remember this was how we used to do them. You just draw the 1/4 inch line all the way around, and then you just sew directly on those lines. All my quilt blocks were more or less perfect in those days. So at this stage, we should have the bottom sewn and the sides sewn as well. Who else has joined us since? Hi, Ronald, how are you? Can't wait for tomorrow. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Lizzie. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to box the corners. These little holes, we're going to box them up and sort of close them up. And we need to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So the seam, if you're beside an iron and you want to, please press open the seam there and then match up the side and press open the seam at the side as well. So you want to match the side seam and the bottom seam, pin them or clip them together. Now, because the seam allowances are open, it's a bit more difficult for me to figure out exactly where they meet. I can feel it because I'm sort of like phasing out from what I'm doing, so I can sort of figure out exactly where it meets. So that's what we want to achieve, and we want that on both sides. So side seam, bottom seam, press them open, bring them together to meet. Try and make sure that the seams actually lie one on top of the others and they actually do meet. And then hold them down. And at this stage, we're just going to run right across 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And the lining should be more or less finished. And then on the other side as well. Okay. And there we have the lining done. So at this stage, we should have the bottom sewn, the side sewn. We should have the zipper pocket, the bottom of it not sewn. We should have the zipper open. And right at the top here, I can't always get the zipper open. Actually, I shouldn't have sewn on that curve, which I have. So I will sort that out. I will unpick that when I get to it. But yes, I shouldn't have sewn round that edge. It should have been from here all the way down and here all the way down. Next, we're going to go to the handles, which will be the D. And the normal way for making these are take your piece of fabric, fold it right down the middle, press, open it up, fold right down to the middle, the sides, fold them right down to the middle, press, and then fold down the middle again. So at the end of the day, you should have a piece that's about 1 1/4. Okay, 1 1/4. So I'll do the other one before I take both of them to the sewing machine, to the ironing station, and press them down. So it's easier for me to sort of sew them. So both the sides, fold lengthwise, open up, fold both sides to the center, and then fold again to form 1 1/4 inch sort of strap, and then we'll just press those down. Okay, so it's now pressed down, and we're just going to sew down the long ends with 1/8 of a stitch, 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. We're just going to top stitch it, sorry, not seam allowance. We're going to top stitch it 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. 4. And I always top stitch on 4. Why? I don't know. I just like the way it looks at 4. But please use whichever length you prefer for your top stitches. And I'm not using a special top stitch thread either. I'm just using the same regular thread, and it's polyester. So I just love chain piecing. It's just so fast and such a beauty to do. So chain pieced both of them done, and then we need to roll the sleeves, the handles. Sorry, I've not started calling them sleeves. So what we need to do first is find the center. And then on each side of the center, we want to mark 1 1/2. Yep, 1 1/2 inch on either side of it. So center 1 1/2. And then on the other side as well. So if you've marked your center with, I don't know, pencil, marker, or anything, then you should have 3 marks on there. But if you've just creased the center, then found the others, then you'll just have the 2 marks that's on either side of the center. Then we need to fold down this from the center just to those marks, just there. We need to fold those down, and then we need to sew just from that line. We made 2 lines, so we need to sew from one line to the other. and make sure you backstitch or at either end so that it doesn't unravel. So we're going to do that. Hold that in place for now. I can see exactly where it is, there and there. So we'll do the same for this one as well. And that way we have our rolled handles ready. And I'm going to unpick the top of the bag very soon. It's not going to take a long time to do. One and a half. And there. And we fold. So do the same thing with the other one. And then we're going to sew that down. Unfortunately, this one can't be chain pieced. It has to be done individually. So let's see if this plays ball. Oh, it does. Nice. I thought it was going to complain, but it hasn't, which I'm really impressed about. And we go up to there. Okay, just trying to figure out where I need to stop sewing so I don't go over. And I'm sure most of you will be using matching thread anyway, so you would be seeing all my ugly threads and everything. But because I want to show exactly what it is that's been done, the thread isn't really matching, but it doesn't matter. So it's going to look like that once it's done. So it's almost like a bow tie. But then we do the other one. Where are you? There. Okay, and we stop there. Okay, so second rolled handle done. And I have to also remember to trim all my threads and to sort of get rid of anything I don't like. So those are done. Now we're going to attach the handle, and we're only attaching one side of the handle to the panels at this point. And somebody did pose that question, because some people have already made the Hope handbag anyway. But some people did pose the question why both handles weren't being sewn down at the same time. And it's because it's too small to place both of them down and then to do all the turning and every single thing that needed to do with the bag. So only one of the handles will be placed on one side of the handles will be placed on each of the panels. And then when we finish the bag all together, the other handle will now be sewn on when we do the stitching, which is why I remembered I had to undo that. So ruler and make a mark. Measure 1/3/8 of an inch from the top part of the bag. So measure from that edge inwards 1/3/8 of an inch. That's where the the sewn handle is going to go into. One 3/8 of an inch. Okay, I can see that. And then on the other side, we need 5/8 of an inch. So the side that we're actually going to sew down, we just want 5/8 of an inch on that side, and then we're going to baste the handle onto it. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 4, 5. There. And when we place the handle, we want to make sure that we have at least 1 inch of it protruding over the top. Oh my God, I've lost a few teeth. Yeah, protruding over the top. And we want to make sure that this folded edge is against our bag when we place it down. So not the folded edge, but this side. The folded edge here, not the open edge here. So this folded edge will be against our bag when we sew. So we do that. Make sure it's protruding at least 1 inch. I can't find my inch. It's disappeared. Okay, that I shall see. Yep, I can see that. And we're going to baste it in place. So that's for panel 1, and we're going to do the same thing for panel 2. So we're going to mark 1 3/8 of an inch on one side. Now I try to be an equal opportunities person. So on one side I did the left, on the other side I'll do the right. So that's 1. And then on the other side, where we're going to actually place the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where we're actually going to sew down the handle, we're going to measure 5/8 of an inch. Okay. Out at the very, very top. Now, you don't have to the wrong way. Typical. Okay. So as you can see, I have at least 1 inch showing at the top. It's 5/8 of an inch from the edge of the bag, and that side I've measured 1 3/8 of an inch, and I've marked it so I know exactly where to put the other side of the bag. So I'm just going to baste these two down for now. And try and baste within the seam allowance so that when we do the final, anything else we need to do, it's not going to sort of show up. And remember, it's just basting, just to hold it in place. Okay, time to start taking out all the pins. I have so many pins in them. And that was for when we were attaching the foam to the bag. Just needed to use the pins to hold the foam down and make sure that the foam did not move or shift while it was being sewn down. Okay, so as you can see, the handle has been stitched down there, and the other one too has been stitched down on the other side of it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to sort out if you're adding the bag feet to your bag. Like I said, I think four. Yeah, you would need 4 bag feet, and you just need to sort of attach them to the base of the bag base. So you have the base, which is the last rectangular piece that we haven't done anything with, and then you should have the plastic base. So if you center the plastic base over the piece on the wrong side, measure. So the measurements you need to place the holes in, it states in the pattern. So it's going to be so much from the short end and so much from the long end, and you just place them. Now, if you place it already on the base and you perforate the holes whilst on the base, then you're going to perforate the hole right through this as well. So you don't have to do it twice, you just need to do it once. I'm not adding feet to mine, like I said, so I'm not going to do that. But if you need to do that, make sure the plastic bit is centered on the base and on the wrong side, as the pattern tells you the measurements you need. So much from the short end, so much from the long end, and you just need 4 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you've done that, the plastic bit, just put that to one side for now. And you will now need your two outer pieces. Make sure you get the center of the 2 outer pieces. Hello. I'm trying to see if there are any more comments. Oh my God, there are lots of them. Hi, Jody. Oh, freezing on and on. That must be the internet. Oh. Okay, it seems to be okay now. Hi, Nova. Hi, Michelle. So what we need to do is find the center of the bottom bit there. So what I would normally do is just cut a tiny little notch in the center, and the other one as well, tiny little notch in the center. The weather has gone from good to bad, as in it just keeps fluctuating, which is really, really annoying, and I know that affects my broadband, so sorry about that. So notches in the center. So we're going to be leaving so much unsewn at the end of the base. So the seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. So we're going to be leaving just about that much. So you can mark that so you know exactly where to stop when you're sewing. Mark that on your base A. So 3/8 of an inch, the seam allowance, just mark that. And that's where we're going to start and stop our sewing when we start. So get the center of this as well on both sides. This would need 2 centers marked out. And yeah, so right sides together, make sure the centers match, and we're going to sew each one independent of the other, and it's still 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So the 3/8 of an inch I left on the base is going to be my starting point, and I'm going to stop at the other end 3/8 of an inch before the end. Okay. Please be careful as you get to the end that you're stopping 3/8 of an inch just before, and back stitch as well. I've gone one stitch over, but I'll sort that out. I always do that every single time I'm trying to be careful. I always go one stitch over. So we do the same thing on the other side as well, so that at the end of it all, the base will be lying that way on our bag. So 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, back stitch. So you're starting 3/8 of an inch before the very end. So you should have a tiny space. Stop. Okay, so we should have that when we're done. And the next thing we're going to do is place them right sides together. And this time I will not make the same mistake. So when we're sewing it this time, please remember, and please shout if I just start sewing the wrong thing again. Okay, we're only sewing from here. See where this curve, where it ends, just right at the top there, and we're stopping right there at the bottom there. So that's what we're doing. And let me see if we have to stop just before. Yeah, so we're just going to sew down that side, and we're going to sew down this side, but just from where, so from where the curve ends, and it's 3/8 of an inch on this one as well. Make sure your bag handles are out of the way and they don't get caught in anything. Then the other side. Okay, both sides are done. Now we're going to close up the this gap that's there. So we need to squish that down. Try and open up the seam allowance as well as we can. So we need to squish the bag down like that. So we're going to first sew at 3/8 of an inch, then we're going to sew at 1/4 of an inch. So the total seam allowance for this is going to be 1 inch, but 3 plus 4, is that 1 4 over 8? No. It's going to be half. Sorry, it's not going to be 1 inch. It's going to be half an inch. So 3/8 of an inch to start with, making sure that the seam allowance is open and it's nice and flat like that. So we sew the first, we make the first stitch at 3/8 of an inch, and you can just squish it down because it's foam. It's really just going to go flat down, and that's the reason why you needed to leave 3/8 of an inch on the base side, so that you can have a nice straight flat edge when you're joining the sides together. So that's why we needed to leave the 3/8 of an inch. So that just falls beautifully into place, and we're just going to sew that down. Okay. Okay, so the first stitch has been done, 3/8 of an inch. Trying to keep it all nice and neat. And also flat. And then once the 3/8 of an inch is done, we now do another one at 1/4 of an inch. So just use the stitch line. Then we do the same thing on the other side as well. Squish it all down. Match the ends together. Make sure it's nice and flat. Okay. And then at 1/4 of an inch as well. And then we turn the exteriors out. Make sure you push into all the nooks and crannies and everything. Make sure it all comes out nicely. And we should have that. So the outer is done. So quickly, I'll just unpick the curved bits up here that I made, where I made a mistake, and then I'm going to reinforce the sides there, just sew up the top there. And we should be good to go. Really sorry about that. Same thing on this side. So I'm just going to reinforce both sides just to be on the safe side, and it does, nothing falls apart when it's all done and dusted. And on the other side as well. Okay. So, yep, we have that. So our zipper is in there somewhere. It's there. And yeah, opens nicely. So the zipped pocket is still open, and the top zip I have now opened. So if you haven't opened your top zip, it might be a good idea to open it now. So my top zip is now opened, and the pockets also, the zips are open. So what we're going to do now is we're going to finish off. So what we need to do is the lining is going to be the one carrying both of them. So we have to put the exterior B inside the lining bottom E with the right sides facing. So the lining is right sides out. The outer of the bag is, no, sorry, the lining is wrong sides out, right sides in. The outer is right sides out, wrong side in. So we're going to place the outer into the lining. Make sure the lining is in between the two layers on either side of it. So like the handle on this side will be in between the two layers there, and the handle on this side will be in between the two layers. And then we just need to squish down the outer so it fits nicely into the lining, because we want to match all the tops and the edges. Now, if there are any parts that don't match, don't worry about it, because they can be trimmed into place. They can be trimmed later. So just make sure that the main pieces, they all match. So I'm going to start from the very top. This handle needs to go in between and stay in between, and I'll match those first. Then I'll do the other side, because we need to leave the opening for where the other part of the handle goes in once we've sewn around the top. So I'll do this side first, and then we will make the marking. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've sewn things shut that are meant to be sewn shut, and then I find out later and I'm like, oops. So on the other side of it, we just need to make some extra measurements. On the side without the handles, we now need to mark so on the side without, so that's the side without the handle. Remember, you can see the handles poking out at the top there. So on this other side, the markings are already on the they're in the instructions. So we need to make two markings on the edge of the bag to know exactly where to place those handles when we're ready to place them. And because these have already been done for you, all the markings and all the measurements have already been done, it's so easy. All you just have to do is follow the measurements as it says in the pattern, and you should not go wrong. I've just checked something now and I'm like, oops, oops. Yep. So you can see I've marked on the edge there the two markings I need in order to be able to place the other side of the handle when we get to that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sew all round, but these two markings that we've made on here, those two markings that we did there and there, we're not going to be sewing those shut. So you've got to put something on there to let us know that definitely, no matter what happens, even if the machine is really having fun and just sewing all by itself, we don't sew those places together. And you know how easy it is for me to just keep sewing because I'm having fun. So on one side, I've put clips to know that I don't sew those two. And on the other side, I've pinned just to tell myself, don't sew. So now we're going to go round the edge of the bag and we're going to sew the whole, we're going to sew every single thing round and then turn it from the pocket right sides out. So I'll just put a few clips in there to make them nice and matching. Try and match all your seams. And on this side as well, try and match your seams. Ouch. And then we're going to sew all the way around. Now, if you don't have a free arm, you can actually place the bag on like that and sew from the inside all the way around. But because I have a long arm, well, free arm, sorry, not a long arm. Because I have a free arm, I'm just going to go, yeah, do it the easy way, like I call it. So I know exactly where the marks are, and I'm just going to start sewing from there. And remember, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. Okay, nice and slow. So nice and slow does it. Okay. Trying to make sure that nothing is in the way and I'm not sewing the wrong things together. Things seems to be dandy. Ouch. Ow. That was a pin. Now I'm stopping because of the gaps we need to leave for the handles on the other side. So I skip the gap, move on to the other side and start again and continue from where I stopped. Sometimes you just have to struggle with the bulk to get it right on the under the needle and at the right seam allowance you want. But once it's there, it seems to work. But to get it there, phew. At times like this is when I really wish I could use my lever, my knee lever, to sort of lift up the presser foot, but since I'm not sitting down, I really don't want to do that. Please make sure the tails and every single thing are not sort of poking out or in the way as you sew around, so you don't catch them. And okay, so now we're done. We've gone all the way around. So we need to snip the corners and to make sure that we don't have any unnecessary bulk or anything. So, and please, when you're snipping, don't snip off any part of the handles at all. We just want to reduce the bulk on the seam allowance itself. So trim as much as you can, safely trim off. And don't trim off the opening place where you've just left a little bit of place for the handle to go in. Try not to trim those off either. Trying to be very careful at this edge so I don't destroy my seam allowance. Yep. And also on this side. Okay. So now we need to turn it right side out through the pocket. So we have the pocket opening there. The zip is opened and the top is opened as well. So we stick our hands in, pull out the outer through the pocket. And then bring out the handles and then stick that back inside. Okay, I still need one more bit. You know what I've done wrong again. No, it wasn't wrong. It showed. Now I'm having trouble finding the top, which should not be, because yeah. Oops. Oh yeah, that's where the handle goes. So if you push your fingers in and a little hole pops out or something, that is where the other handle goes into. I think that was what confused me for 2 seconds. Yeah, so the handle will be going in into there. Yeah, I wondered for a bit what was happening, but yeah, got it. So make sure all the corners are properly pushed out, and looking for my pushy outer thingy. So if you've got the butt of a pencil or a crochet needle or a proper turner or something, just push out all the out. Oops, made a hole. I'm going to be top stitching anyway, so it's going to be fine. Carefully do it. Don't make a hole like I just did. And it's going to be top stitched, so that will be fine. On this side, I don't really need to push out that much. And then on the other side as well, not as hard, but okay. And pocket goes in. So you remember the measurement we made on the other side of the bag without the handles? Well, that is where the other end of the handle goes into. So we're going to stick those in next. So the seam allowances for the handle gaps, we need to press those in place so that we have a nice smooth finish when we finally sew that bit in. So we're going to press those down so we have a very nice fine finish there, and on the other side as well up there. So it's still going to be top stitched. I haven't put anything into it yet. And just making sure I have every single thing, every corner pushed out nicely. And I shall just quickly press the seam allowances down. Okay, so it's been pressed down now, and we're going to take the other side of the handle and push it in at least 1 inch as well as we did the other one. So that is roughly 1 inch. And then on the other side, we push that in as well, about 1 inch. Just a bit more. And then once we do that, we're just going to top stitch around the whole bag 1/8 of an inch. So we doing the 1/8 of an inch all the way around. That gap is going to be closed in with the handle in it, so the handle is going to be sewn down as well. So make sure that the zipper is out of the way. The zipper bottom, the pull, is out of the way so we don't sew it, open it all the way. If you open it all the way, it sort of gives you more room to maneuver. And this is a bit thick. Not sure about top stitching that, but I'll see. Okay. So we're just going to top stitch all the way around now, completely the whole thing, 1/8 of an inch. It's really, really hot in here because all the lights are now focusing on me, and it's like, oh my gosh. So does anybody have any questions? Yes, I'm getting really, really close to being done now. Oh yeah. Thursdays are bubbly stitch days. I agree to that. Oh, Deb, I've loved every single second of sewing with the machine. It's like, wow. And because I'm so used to the other one, which is like the old model of this one, I've had to sort of remember, try and remember the things that I would normally do on that one I wouldn't need to do on this one. But it's really, really been a joy to sew with. I wouldn't lie to you. I can't wait to sort of maybe make a proper quilt on this one or something, that I've made lots of times on the other one, just to try out exactly what it's like and all. But so far, bag making, it is perfect. And that bit that I was really scared of, it's actually gone through it without any complaints or anything. So it's really been great. Somebody has suddenly remembered I'm alive, so they're calling me. I don't know who it is. I'll get to them later. That's my ringtone. I need to get a Juke Industrial as well. Honestly, I'm just one of those people. I just like to have everything. And Comme ça, c'est tout fait. Like that, it's all done. And so the only things we now need to do is, remember, we turned through a gap within the bag. We now have to look for that gap and stitch it all up so things don't start falling out. Now, this is the stage where you need to put your base. And also, if you're adding prongs, remember you've made your prong holes based on the base of the bag. So when you slip this into the bag, your holes should match up. And if you sort of, when you start applying the feet into the bag, just sort of like jiggle it a bit to find the hole for the next, the next bit. So now I'm going to slip that through the pocket, through the hole to the base of the bag. And it goes in, slides in, and because it's flexible, it's just great. So it's there. I can feel it there. Fold it slightly, and it fits in at the other end, and I can feel it right there. Okay, that's the side I favor, so that's the side you're going to see as well. And like that, you can see the base is in there. And if you were adding the bag prongs, remember you've made holes, and you can see the holes right there. So what you will do is you put the prong in, move the plastic bit all around till it goes through the hole, because they should be matching up as they were made at the same time. Put it in, and then sort of spread open the prongs at the other end, and just do the 4 of them that way. And that should hold your base firmly down. Now, the reason why I'm not bothering with this is because this is my prototype. So most likely I wouldn't use it unless somebody steals it. But that's why I'm not bothering with all the bling and stuff. So, and personally, I don't like bling. So that's it. And so I'm just going to sew the base hole. I'm just going to sew that shut, and we should be done. That has gone faster, real faster than I thought it was going to go. And I can't thank you all enough for being here and for keeping me company. It's been fun having you all. And I've enjoyed making all the mistakes and fixing them as well. So it just goes to show that, look, anybody can make a mistake and we can all come back from it. It's not the end of the world. And I just love the fact that the bag is called Hope. And though the color, I've used really, quiet colors on the outside, not too loud. I like the fact that when I open up the bag, it has this beautiful bright, well, not bright, but bright colored fabric inside it, as opposed to just another sort of, dark fabric. So that gives me hope. It gives me joy. It makes me smile. So every single time I have to open the bag for anything, I would always smile, because it has a cheery feel to it, just knowing that, yes, the outside looks dull. So every single thing outside might look like, terrible and horrible and not what we're used to and all. But you know what? What really matters is what is inside. What really matters is what we carry, and what really matters is what we share with one another. So let the light come from within. Don't let it be the one that everybody can see from the outside, and that is the showy bit and stuff. But let your light be the one that shines from the inside to the outside. So, and there, so you push it back in, stick it back in once you've sewn it down, zip it up, and Hope is born. So like I said, so that's the favored side. So like I said, Thank you, every single person, for joining me today. It's been fun, and I've really enjoyed spending the time with each and every one of you. I'll see. Lizzie, no bling. I said that on Tuesday. I said no bling. I'm not a bling girl. You see, I don't even have earrings on. And it's not even because of religious reasons. I'm just not a blingy person. So no bling. Um oh yes, Nova. I read about the problems you had with the Juki, and I thought, no, I'm still sold on Juki anyway. Thank you, Nova. Really enjoyed choosing the fabric, and though the reason why I don't like the side is because it's not centered. It was meant to be centered as well, but it wasn't. So you can have that part. Bum, 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 bum. Thank you, Lizzie. Thanks, Deb. Have a lovely day. So I'll see you all tomorrow for the Meet the Team, and you'll get to know a bit more about me. Thanks, everybody, and have a lovely evening. Bye.